started. Actually, we have just about everybody on, which is cool. Everybody jumped on right at 1 o'clock. Big crowd today, so thank you for joining me. I know doing webinars right in the middle of the day can sometimes mess with your schedule a little bit, but I'm appreciative that you joined me. We'll go ahead and get started. We're going to talk today about BeeSafe Lawns and the opportunity to become a member of the BeeSafe Lawns network. Today's webinar is going to kind of focus on marketing and our campaign that we have that revolves around the mybeesafelawn.com consumer lead generation and sales campaign, consumer awareness, and most of you, or if any of you have been on our webinars before, have considered looking into becoming a member of the network. You know that this is much more than just providing organic lawn care or providing a service to your companies. We like to help you grow your business, and we want to help you as much as we can from agronomics to marketing to everything else. So my name's Tom Kelly. I am the founder of the company, and I'll be doing today's webinar. We'll hopefully keep it to right around a half an hour. If I go longer, which I probably will, forgive me, but we'll do a question and answer period at the end of the webinar. If you have any questions as we go, which I'm opening my panel right here, and there's a couple of things typed in there already, but if you have any questions as we go ahead and type them in, and sometimes I'll stop and answer them, and they kind of apply to what we're talking about. Typically, I'll wait till the end of the webinar to answer them, but don't be shy. Go ahead and pump them in there, and I can answer whatever it is you need to you'd like to have answered. So let's start a little bit about BeeSafe Lawns. We always like to kind of begin the process for those of you who haven't been on our webinars before, and I'm looking down at the 30 or so that you are on here now, and I see a lot of new names. I see a couple familiar names. Aloha Willis, and yeah, so it's a good. So many of you have not been on a BeeSafe webinar before. So we want to talk a little bit about who BeeSafe Lawns is, and that's a good place to start. I'll kind of cruise right through it the best I can. I always start here. BeeSafe was featured in Entrepreneur Magazine's Disruptors issue last year. And Entrepreneur Magazine's Disruptors issue focuses on companies, and they choose 6 companies every year that are really being successful in their own industry by doing things differently, right? So, and that's exactly what BeeSafe is all about. If we're being honest, and most of you, if you've been in the business for a while, know that the lawn care industry has been a little slow to change. We're not really real positive or forward thinking with some of the things that we do, especially when it comes to fertilization. A lot of the programs that we're doing now are still the same programs we were doing 20 years ago, right? So we're very slow to change, and we were lucky to be acknowledged and kind of called out by Entrepreneur Magazine as being a disruptor in our industry, and that issue is about companies that are being successful doing things differently. So search it online and you can read it. It's a great article. A couple of our customers that we work with that help us with credibility, so that you know we're not messing around here. We work with Harvard University. They use our 702 product on the entire campus a couple times per year. Harvard is completely organic, and of course, it's Harvard, so it's a big deal. They use a closed-loop compost tea system where they compost all their food waste and leaf debris and tree debris and everything and turn it into compost. Then they manipulate it to match up exactly with what the soil is requiring at the time, which is very similar to what BeeSafe does in terms of our biologically enhanced products. It's sort of a laboratory-created compost tea, so it's similar. Harvard needed some more nitrogen, so they use our 702. Universal Studios down in Orlando, the entire theme park is BeeSafe. We went down there and met with him a few years ago and built a program for him, and they're very successful, and we're happy that they're a great customer. Hadlock Field up in Maine, only professional baseball stadium that's completely organic, and Hadlock is the home of the AA affiliate, Portland, the Boston Red Sox AA affiliate team, so we're pretty excited to work on that field. It's challenged, that's for sure. The Portland Sea Dogs is a team that plays there, and keeping that field looking perfect all the time is definitely not easy, that's for sure. Another one up in Maine is the city of Scarborough, and this is a great jumping off point for a couple of things, because this is an example of how current advocacy is helping BeeSafe applicators grow their business significantly. A group called the Citizens for a Green Scarborough pushed some legislation in the city, and an ordinance was passed that they can't use any pesticides on municipally maintained turf, and that equals a $90,000 per year account for our applicator up in Scarborough, Maine, Dave Malewski and Go Green Landscaping. A $90,000 account, so that's pretty good. If there's any advocacy going on in your town, get on board with it and get to know the people involved, because it's definitely something that can gain you business. So currently there are 112 BeeSafe locations across the USA. This past summer, we sat down talking about our growth curve, and we identified 225 additional locations that we'd like to place a dealer applicator in the next 2 years. And the plan is to get there, and we're doing very well. We're moving right along. Hopefully at the end of that period, BeeSafe will be in all 50 states and competing with True Green Scott, Spring Green, Weedman, Lawn Doctor, and all the other big guys. And we'll be recognized as a national brand, and we're well on our way to doing that based on the success we've had to date working with independent lawn and landscape companies like you guys. So with 325 locations across the country, we really think we'll be among the most recognized names in lawn care. Hopefully at this point, most of you have heard of us, and we've worked really hard to grow that brand, and we continue to do so. So let's switch over a little bit to kind of your company, and how we like to see BeeSafe applicators operate. And to do that, we talk about the demographic, the type of company, type of consumer or customer BeeSafe applicators pursue. And we like to think of BeeSafe applicators as being lawn services that offer an organic program, but not organic lawn care services. We always want you to market to the masses and not just the niche. The niche is that group of advocacy type people who are very anti-pesticide, very anti-chemical, which is okay. You want to kind of follow their coattails, but most of them don't have their lawns treated, whether it's organic or not. And we know for a fact that when you're doing a multi-transactional type service like lawn care, lawn service, lawn fertilization, you need to market to the masses. You need to have a significant number of customers to kind of hit that profitability type curve, and that's important. You want to make sure that you're appealing to everybody, not just the niche. While the niche is growing, it certainly is getting bigger and bigger every year. I don't think it's going to support your business if you focus solely on organic lawn care, unless you're going to go after things like private schools and municipalities like we talked about in Scarborough. Private schools very much like organic lawn care, but we really want you to go after the volume. You need to drive that volume to increase your customer count. It's important. And this is another good jumping off point for how do you get there. You need to reach the masses by launching a professional marketing campaign, and that's what we like to help you guys with. So let's talk a little bit. I see there's a few questions, and I'm going to hold off answering. Joe, I'm going to answer your question later on in the webinar. But keep typing them in there if you want. If you type them in and I ignore you, it means that I'm scheduled to kind of talk about it in the coming minutes, coming moments. So let's talk about the MyBeeSafeLawn.com consumer lead generation and sales campaign, which is literally in full effect right now. It is that time of year where we are doing everything we can to market our businesses, and we want to help you do that, which is going to help you grow your customer count. And so this is kind of a busy slide here, but it kind of makes sense to set the stage a little bit. So as an independent lawn and landscape service, you've said it many times before, they are charging you what? So many of the big lawn and landscape companies are actually marketing companies in disguise and have salespeople who are ready, willing, and able to lowball their pricing just to make the sale. It's kind of a problem, and we have to find ways to deal with it, that's for sure. And it's not always an easy thing to do. So the best way to build your business in that cutthroat pricing culture isn't what you think. It's not about being the best at customer service or being the best in terms of your results. We hear people say that a lot, saying, I can't compete, I don't want to compete, I can't do it for that. I'm going to grow my business by being the best. I'm going to have really awesome customer service, and my lawns are going to look awesome, and I'm always going to return phone calls, and I can justify that high price. Well, that's cool, but it's kind of thinking small. It's not always going to work out that way. If you want to grow your business while competing against the big guys, you have to act like the big guys. And we're not talking about always just cutting your pricing, but you have to be able to operate a significant and well-oiled sales campaign. And today's consumer is all about information and ease of use. Not easy of use, there's a typo in the ease of use. You need to be able to respond to that. You need to be able to make sure that you can get your message in front of people the same way that the big companies are doing that. So if you want to compete with the big guys, you have to act like the big guys. Pretend you're a big guy. You could be a small guy that acts like a big guy. So this year, we're including marketing services in your BeeSafe Lawns dealer package. And it's all about generating leads and business for you. You want leads? We'll give you leads. Real quick, maybe we'll take a quick look at this. The mybeesafelawn.com website is an extension of our homepage. It is basically it's a landing page or a microsite, and it's in work in progress. There's not much. It's not a significant web page. It's just it's a microsite, a landing page to be able to get to the people to submit their information. Right. So very simple. Home, about us. We have a thing about programs. We have a blog where we try to do 2 blogs per week, and a page for our locations. So all of our BeeSafe applicators are listed there. It's a place for us to be able to drive traffic via marketing sources and help really kind of generate those leads for you to help you grow your business. Lead sources involved with the mybeesafelawn.com campaign are AdWords or pay-per-click. I know some of you guys do that. We've got a great direct mail campaign. We'll talk about local citation program is pretty neat. Then we'll talk about social media, organic search. Search engine optimization is very, very important, and that's why we blog a lot. Content, relevant content is important. PR and newsletters. Any questions so far? I know there's a couple questions up there that we're going to talk about right now. Again, feel free to type them in. So AdWords, pay-per-click. Some of you guys probably already do this, and we'll do it with the mybeesafelawn.com campaign as well. The goal is to get your ad to show up on the top or the side based on certain keywords, right? So your paid advertisements always go here. This is a search for lawn care, Orlando, Florida. True Green usually dominates. They don't mind paying out their ears to make sure they're always on top, and that's okay. Paid advertisement is also over here, and we've got a campaign going designed to do the same thing. So AdWords and pay-per-click are very important. So you can opt into our AdWords or pay-per-click campaign, and it's different than what it would be if you set it up on your own or if you hire a service to do it. This is a pay-per-lead campaign, so all you have to do is opt in. There is no risk whatsoever. You opt in to the program and say, Tom, set this up with my particular zip codes. We do, and then every time we generate a lead for you, the charge is $49. That's a really awesome deal. A lot of times this is surprising to people. We are not generating leads and then selling leads to other people. We're generating leads and giving them to you. And we'll talk about Lead with Dispatch in a moment. That's a pretty good deal. Direct mail is a program that we've been working on for a while here. So I happen to have our direct mail piece open right now. Let's take a look at it. That's a pretty sweet postcard right there, isn't it? So you can opt into the direct mail program, and we will send this out. It is a customized piece that will be going to a list of homeowners with children under 10 years old and dog owners based on certain income and homeowner requirements. So we're really drilling down the demographic. We send direct mail to people with young children and people with dogs, really people who are looking to kind of have an environmentally responsible lawn care program. And it's got your information on it here, promotion, call to action. It's a pretty great piece, and we're really excited to get it out. You can opt into that as well. We also have another program where you can plug in your own customers and then kind of reach out around those customers and send a piece to them as well, and you can include that customer's address. It basically says we're already doing the lawn at 42 Elm Street. we'd love to do your lawn too, and it's also customized with the homeowner's name on it. So what we're really trying to do is target the specific demographic, people who are apt to use reduced chemical lawn care and people who are already around your customers. It makes sense. So depending on the volume of pieces that you want to send out, the cost to do that is between 50 and 60 cents per piece. And if that's a little bit higher than what you're used to thinking, because you may have done a every door direct mail program or something like that, this isn't bulk mail. This isn't mail that goes to every single house. This is mail that is specifically sent to people in our demographic. The masses, it is still the masses. It's just a little bit qualified, right? And there's a very small minimum with that too. A local citations program is designed to kind of work alongside that paid advertisement. So we got a paid advertisements here and here. The local citations program is to get you to show up in the local search here. And you do that by submitting all of your information to what are called data aggregators. There are 4 data aggregators that send out all of your information to more than 300 local search engines. So, Google isn't the only one. It's the most popular one, but Yelp, Yellow Pages, there are more than, I've got a list of them that sometimes I bring up when we do this webinar. I don't have it right now, but sends out your information to 300 of those local search engines in an effort to get you to rank locally, and that's very important for your web presence. Social media, you may have noticed that we're always trying to post on Facebook. We've got a Twitter account. We do videos and an Instagram account too. There is a way to monetize this somehow with sponsored posts. We still haven't figured it out completely, and it's important to not get crazy on a certain source where you don't have all the answers to it yet. And we'll experiment with lead generation through social media as we go, but we can't make any promises yet because we don't have it the metrics completely drilled down, but we will continue to work on it. PR is an important piece of any marketing campaign, and we'll be sending out 4 monthly pieces. Probably we're a little bit delayed. Probably the beginning of March will be the first one. And they're all public interest pieces, newspapers and blogs and magazines and any source of content are all looking for content right now, right? So it's difficult to fill up a newspaper every single day. So editors are always looking for pieces that are interesting, general use type pieces. And what we'll do is we'll send that out as a national press release. We can also direct it to geo-targeted areas. So we'll send it to your particular areas as well in hopes that it'll get carried by your local newspaper or a local magazine or a local blog or anything like that. And hopefully you can opt into that as well. It's a big part of any campaign. We like to have multiple parts moving all at the same time, accentuating the other to try to drive some volume to the myBeesafeLawn.com microsite. If you want to opt into the Done For You program, it's pretty cool because I know you guys are really busy, and a lot of times when you generate estimates, you probably don't get to them as fast as you can. The goal is to generate information from our lead source, any lead source that we just talked about, whether it's direct mail, AdWords, PR. That prospect is designed or is hopefully going to arrive at the contact form on the website. They'll submit that form or call the 800 number that arrives here. Somebody in our BeeSafe Sales Center will receive that information and then send out that estimate immediately using the program we use is My Lawn Quote. So we call it the MLQ CRM. Get that information, get the estimate out to the homeowner immediately on demand. I'm a firm believer in turnaround time, increasing lead, increasing closing percent. The faster you get that information out to the prospect, more sales you're going to make. So we'll send that lead out, put them into a 4-touch lead nurture, an email program that's going to automatically send out emails to them regarding their estimate over the course of the next 2 weeks. If you opt into that, the cost is $10 per lead. So it's a great program, especially if you're an owner-operator and you don't have a sales team or a good sales system in place. This is a very good program for you. So how am I doing on time? Wow, I'm doing pretty good. Cruising right along. Doing all right. I'm going to be on track. So let's move away from sales a little bit and talk about the program, the BeeSafe Applicator network what it's like to join, what you're getting. So when you become a member of the network, you get access to our organic program, all of our products and programs. We'll talk about all of these individually as we go along. Many of our applicators choose to protect the territory, much like a franchise. And you'll notice that the BeeSafe program looks and feels like a franchise, but it's not. There's no royalties or there's no ongoing costs. But you can choose to protect the territory for a fee. Marketing materials and branding are all very important. We're all very much into marketing and branding. If you do choose to protect the territory, we'll build a website for you. And then training. Training is very important. We'll talk about that too. The branding part. All of our applicators, or most of our applicators, use the BeeSafe brand in some way within their business. This is a picture of a BeeSafe truck on Hadlock Field. You know, whether you put the logos on your trucks, it works really well as a supporting role to your existing brand. The way BeeSafe works is we work with independent lawn and landscape companies like you guys, which make up the majority of our business, and the BeeSafe brand acts as a supporting role to your particular business. Nobody knows your business the way you do, and BeeSafe acts in a supporting role. So we've seen it on trucks, billboards, postcards, brochures, websites, flyers, door hangers, trade shows, you name it. The BeeSafe brand has really kind of been put everywhere, and we think there's definitely value in that. So we haven't talked much about the products, and that's by design, because many times I can talk about the products for hours, and we don't want to do that. So I want to give you sort of a generalization about the proprietary line of products. We base everything we do on 5 principles. The introduction of soil biology is a priority. The use of biostimulants to prevent and reduce stress, use of organic sources of fertilizer, use of organically acceptable control products, and information and education. The products are all liquid. The products are all designed to really increase soil biology and promote soil biology while feeding the lawn. A lot of times, and actually somebody asked earlier about the products and weed control, we'll address some of those things at the end of the webinar, because everybody will ask more about the products. But we wanted to say that they're all liquid. You typically need a skid sprayer to apply them. We build a program for you. Earlier we had mentioned treating turf in Cambridge, Mass. at Harvard, and treating turf in Orlando, Florida at Universal. Couldn't be more different in terms of agronomics and turf. So the programs look very, very different. We'll build a program specifically for where you are, and that's one of the benefits. You don't have to figure it out. If you want to offer an organic program, a reduced chemical program, you could spend years trying to figure out what products to use, and we've already done it. For the previous, this will be our 5th year in business with some very happy customers. So we'll build a program specifically for you. Protected territory. If you do want to protect the territory, and not everybody does, we don't want everybody to all the time, but you can protect up to 150,000 single-family dwelling units. And what that means is that there will be no other BeeSafe applicators in your area. It will only be you. You've protected that given territory, and you can do that. What's it cost to get involved with the network? Package number 1, where you do protect that territory, is $14,900. Now you know why not everybody does, right? So if you want to protect it, you can. If you want to fill out an application in regards to protecting a territory, it has to be approved by a dealer advisory board. We don't allow just anybody to protect that territory. And if it's too much for you, if it's something you don't necessarily want to pursue, we've got package number 2, which is the BeeSafe Lite version, which is really everything except for that protected territory. So you get access to the program, the products, access to all the marketing materials and branding. And it's much more easy to get into. It's much less to bite off. Right now, we're running a little bit of a special for those of you who want to get involved, because we're really working on the marketing end of things. All new dealers, as of prior to the next training, which is in the beginning of March here in Manchester, New Hampshire, we'll do 1,000 direct mail pieces for you. And we'll give you an annual subscription to MLQ, which is pretty cool. So 1,000 direct mail pieces isn't a ton, but it's still a good start. It's a good way to get your message out there. Most of the time, most of our new applicators are coming on, they're adding to that and doing more. So that's good. You know, we didn't talk about the training very much. Training is an important part of what we do, and we have training sessions here in Manchester, New Hampshire, about every 6 weeks or so, and they're really, really good. We cover a wide variety of things, but mostly we talk about marketing and agronomics and the BeeSafe program in and of itself. So if you are interested in joining the network, think about coming up here in the beginning of March to do the next training. So the next steps, if any of you are interested in kind of pursuing this, we're going to give you access to what we call our due diligence site. It's a password-protected site where you need credentials to get in. It's got all of our proprietary information, our products, the cost of the products, how the programs fit together in kind of a general way. We've got a warm season and cool season program. We typically offer 3 levels of that, a premium program, a basic program, and something we call optimized organics, which is a much lower cost program that's designed really to compete with those big guys. So we'll get you access to our due diligence site. You'll be able to log in and check out all that stuff. If you want to talk about protecting a territory, you're going to want to fill out an application and talk to Dick about that. Dick Conley is the Director of Dealer Development, and you can reach out to him with any questions in regards to becoming a dealer. If you want to reach out to me with product or technical questions or marketing, our contact information is right there. So that's it. How did I do on time? Just about a half an hour. Perfect. Any questions? Let me scroll through the list of questions that were asked as we went here. Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. A couple questions about weed control, and the question revolves around what do you do if you have a lawn that's really loaded with weeds? And we've all been there. If you've got a new customer who's got a ton of weeds, sometimes it makes sense to do an application of a chemical herbicide because the cost is lower in terms of the weed controls. We use a product called Fiesta for post-emergent weed control. A lot of our applicators last year were using Tenacity, which some of you guys have heard of. It's an EPA-registered low-risk pesticide. But you can, yeah, it's not the end of the world if you use a chemical herbicide, really. We always say you never want to lose a customer based on your advocacy. And if you've got a lawn that's loaded with weeds and it needs a blanket app of weed control, there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. So here's a good question. What's the average cost of the service? That's an excellent question. There's really 2 parts to it. So the cost of there's a difference between cost and price. And if you're asking what is the cost of the products, we really try to keep it as low as possible. Generally speaking, people think organic lawn care is much more expensive. It is a little bit more expensive, but that cost or that price that you offer is going to be really completely based on the cost of your product. So the optimized organics program, which is the lower end, your cost per 1,000 square feet is going to be in and around and even lower than $2 per 1,000 square feet. Cost of the premium program, which has everything in there, and that is the niche program, is going to be more like $4 per 1,000 square feet. So that's where you're throwing everything but the kitchen sink in there. That's the top of the line program that you're going to charge a lot for. The middle program is more in line with the optimized program, and we really try to keep the product costs close to $2 per 1,000. If you want to see a suggested price list, once we send you that the credentials to log into that due diligence site, go to the product catalog page, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and we have a suggested price list. We say you want to be competitive with the other guys out there by being able to offer that optimized program, but you also want to throw out that premium program as well for those niche type people. Hopefully that answered your question. Here's a good question, and we get it all the time. Do any of your products require refrigeration like some of the other biostimulant products? No. All of our products, or most of our products, are biologically enhanced. They do contain active genus and species of soil improving microorganisms, typically bacteria and fungi. And they are dormant, or they're not dormant, they're in what's called a vegetative state. So they're stabilized in the lab. We manufacture all of our products, or the bioenhanced products, in a laboratory. Then they're put into solution with the other parts of the product. And when they come out of, when you spray them on the lawn and they're exposed to moisture, oxygen, and they get into the soil, they come out of that vegetative state and become active. There's always going to be sources of food in the product for them, typically molasses or dextrose and sucrose. So when those microorganisms begin to come out of dormancy or that vegetative state, they're able to survive and repopulate. That's the important thing. But we have some really awesome technology that that does not require refrigeration. So we won't tell you that you need to carry a refrigerator to use the products. We've had great results with the products. We're really happy with them. So, all right. Here's a good one. Benjamin, what do you need to do to convince us that you can use, sell, and be successful with the product? You know, just being motivated and understanding the industry is enough to launch a really decent business. And we're in, you know, you almost want to reverse this. It's what can we do to convince you that we're the right company to help you. And that's what we do with many of our applicators, is that we help them grow their business. It's not only about product. It's not only about marketing. We understand that our business model is based on your success. So I kind of almost want to reverse your question and think, how do I really convince you that we're the right people to help you be successful? That's what we do. It's what we do all the time. We typically don't work with startups. I won't lie. You know, we usually like to have at least you be in business for a little bit, but we can have a conversation if you are a true startup about how we can work together. So that might be an offline conversation, but we like to help you. We like to think of it as we're in business to help you grow your business. Question about grub control. We have a product called Grandivo. Grandivo is a certified organic insect control. It's not a product that we make. It's a product that we distribute. Same goes for like Fiesta or some of the other control products. We don't manufacture them. We act as distributors for other manufacturers. If you want to Google Grandivo, you can look it up and find out a lot about it. It's a really, really good product. It's a little bit pricey, but it's a wide spectrum insect control and works really well on subsurface feeding insects like grubs. Grandivo, G-R-A-N-D-E-V-O. It's distributed by Engage Agro through their distributors. Let's see, a couple more. Pest control company adding this. We've got other companies doing the same thing, and pest control is the perfect sort of setup because you're already a residential service business, so it's not difficult to add it at all. If you've already got a customer base, they're obviously the best people you want to sell to. And the training, yes, it does take care of all of that, how to actually get the business up and running. But it's it's going to be similar in terms of the residential service part of things. But you know, the products, the treatment of the lawns, you know, we can help you. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Again, that's what we do. And if you've already got something up and running, it's not terribly difficult to integrate it into that. In fact, you're way ahead of everybody else. So go ahead, and that's something we can certainly help you with, and we've done it with others already. Really, most of our applicators are landscapers. And lawn fertilization and landscaping, they're also two very different businesses. Sometimes people think they're the same, but they're really two different categories of business. So adding fertilization to a landscaping company isn't that different than adding fertilization to a pest control company. It's what we do all the time. All right. I thought I saw something about, hang on one second, I lost them all. All right. So there's a lot more questions here, and I'm going to continue to answer them. If anybody wants to jump off anytime, go ahead, but I'll stay and I'll answer all the questions until we're done. If we go longer than normal, that's fine. Tim is asking about granular products. We're always trying to find the best ways to do things. And we do have granular products developed, Tim. We do, especially biologically enhanced granular products. We don't have them out available yet, but oftentimes that granular is an important piece of the program, especially if it's a higher nitrogen product, because you can kind of satiate those short-term nitrogen requirements for turf in case there's a transition to organics. There's also a challenge with freight with granular products, because instead of shipping a drum of a concentrate from us to you, we begin to talk about shipping pallets, or tons of fertilizer, and that's a little bit more difficult. You can always source granular products locally if you need to, and we'll always help you find the best place to do that. We've got a relationship with a national turf company that sells everything. So, other than organics, if you need anything, we can help you get that as well. We're always working on granules. It's funny that you asked, because we were just talking about that this morning. And we've got a great granular formulation. We just don't have it ready for to sell yet. Harder to make too. The minimums to manufacture it are significant. Typically, how many applications are needed per year in the mid-range program for warm season turf? Good question, Jim. In terms of the number of applications, we really always want to make it look and feel a lot like what you're already doing. So you don't want your organic program to look weird in comparison with your traditional program. 6 or 7 apps, Jim, to answer your question directly. Warm season, if you're in Miami, it's going to be 8 or 9. If you're in Atlanta, it's going to be 6 or 7. So you want it to look just like your other programs. More questions about weed control. Of course, and homeowners hire lawn services to control weeds, and we know that through really sort of case studies and surveys. No matter how much a homeowner tells you that they don't want to use herbicides or want to reduce chemicals, they still flip out over a dandelion, right? It's weird. We've got multiple weed control options. There's Fiesta, Tenacity. We have a liquid corn gluten product, which is a really, really good pre-emergent, summer annual weed pre-emergent. There's a product called drawing a blank on the other weed control that we sold a couple years ago, and it wasn't successful. Maybe that's why I'm forgetting it, because I can't remember the name of it. Well, we're always looking. My point was going to be that we're always out there looking for the best products for you to be able to use. And again, we don't manufacture control products. We are not manufacturers of pesticides. Even an organic control product is still a pesticide. And there are more and more, or a lot of research and research and development going on for these types of products. But typically, Fiesta is our go-to post-emergent broadleaf weed control, and it works really, really well. Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive, but that's what drives the cost of an organic program up a little bit compared to chemical. We try to drive those product costs down because we know how important it is to your service business. It has to be affordable for you to be able to sell it, and we get that. Any other questions? There's a good group of questions today, guys. I really appreciate it. I do. Okay, if that's it, we'll let you go. Like I said, if you want to continue on with the process, contact us here, but we'll get you set up with the due diligence administrative login information, and that's a good thing. A couple other questions popped in. Acelepryn for grub control. We do. A couple of, the question is, we mentioned tenacity, if we consider the acelepryn for grub control. Many of our applicators do use acelepryn, and I'll tell you why they use acelepryn instead of Grand Evo. The Grand Evo is a little bit more expensive. Acelepryn is nowhere, it certainly isn't organic. It's in the same way tenacity isn't organic, but we talk about things as organically acceptable. And acelepryn does fall into that category, mainly because it's not a neonicotinoid. We are not going to interfere with bee populations in any way. So, sneaking in the questions in on me at the end there. All right, we'll wrap it up. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining me today. Hope to talk to you soon.